evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the host of the Bradley Report. This show was put together by none other than the producer and the director of this show, who happens to be also the chairman of United Peace Inc. I'm just the president of United Peace Inc., and that's none other than my wife, Terry Marsh Bradley. I got an interesting show today. I know you probably heard that I sued Alexi DeNulius for $20,000 because he owed me. But I don't want you to get it twisted because I'm not a Charles Thomas or a Clarence Thomas, and I believe in being true blue. October the 7th, I voted early for the re-election of J.B. Pritzker, for the election of Alexi DeNulius to be Secretary of State. I also voted for a straight Democratic ticket, inclusive of the retention of judges. I understand the big picture. He understands the big picture. But the fact of the matter is this. It was brought to my attention, and we're going to get into the show, that Governor J.B. Pritzker gives him $1 million. And I find that troubling because he had a problem, not J.B. Pritzker, but Alexi DeNulius, to pay me for my labor to help him win the primary. It kind of reminds me as if we was on the same World Series team. I'm the back catcher, he the pitcher. We win the World Series. And then for some reason, everybody on the team gets a ring, but they got a problem with me getting the ring. One thing everybody know, including you, my viewing audience, know, that outside of him, there was nobody out there that was a part of his campaign more vocal than me against Anna Valencia, to show everyone where the best one to pick and elect for the Secretary of State office representing the Democratic Party was Alexi DeNulius. Okay, I put in my work, I put in my time. If J.B., who was with Anna, saw that in the sake of unity, he would give Alexi $1 million to help with his campaign, I just find it wrong. A lot of people find it wrong for Alexi and them to spend all that money on commercials and not pay the individuals that help him win. So I filed suit. I'm not like the Gator of old, like everybody think. It wasn't about breaking his car windows, a key in his car, or sticking a hole in his tire. I don't do that. I go to court. We don't get into all that. And one of the things that's important, this election is very, very important. We can't afford to have a Republican governor, a Republican Secretary of State, a Republican nothing within the state of Illinois. We can't afford to have, for those that's watching this from around the country, elect straight Democrats in the name of democracy. You know, the thing that gets me is that I have no problem with Charles Thomas getting paid to push Brady. He got a right to earn whatever money they give him. I have no problem with the Republican urban translators that's doing what they do for the Republican candidates. I never get into them, how much money did you get, why are you getting, but it seems like for some reason, Everybody have a problem with Gator doing what he do. Don't get mad because this primary I ended up with a trifecta with J.B. Pritzker, with Alexi Janulius, with Jonathan Jackson winning the Democratic primary. And I had all of them, all three of them. A lot of judges. One that I wish had won didn't win out the 5 that I had. So it becomes the thing that's more insulting to me, pulling what they say insult to injury, is when an individual tells me to Gator, we doing something for Alexi, and we don't want you to show up because we know you suing him. And I listened to him for a minute, and it dawned on me, dude, y'all was the one that lost. I didn't lose. I was with Alexi. You coming on after he won the primary. So if anybody had a right to be there with him, it's the one that was on the team with him. But I ain't getting mad with that because my focus is on something else. And that something else is being paid for my labor. That's what I do professionally. And a man's name is only as good as his word. And there's a thing in the law called quantum merit. We're going to talk about that. But first off, I want you to pay attention to this right here. And then we're going to get into the meat of this show. Because I want to make sure that I'm sitting in the proper place as I watch the debate between Governor and Bailey. Okay? So, to God be the glory. We're going to start on with this story. Brother Omari, hit that for me right.
When I was treasurer, we put in place tough ethics laws, and we stood up to Mike Madigan. When I'm Secretary of State, no more politicians. We can stop this. Are you with me?
Hey, Brother Mari, hit the next one too. The one right after this one. No, not that.
Keep talking, Andy.
There's one before that. Anyway, good commercial, great commercial. I'm winning 100%. I voted early, October 7th, the first day that Cook County could vote with an early vote. And what happened is we all was at the Thompson Center. It's a thing that they call taking the souls to the polls. The governor was there, Leslie Janulius was there, you know what I mean? And we went and voted early. I cast my vote so everyone could know that I don't choke. I'm walking like I'm talking. I'm true blue. Regardless of whatever's happening with me and Alexi, I got a feeling it's going to be all right. So I went in and voted for him. J.B. Pritzker, straight Democratic ticket. So,
Listen up. The political corruption, the scandals, it doesn't have to be this way. When I was treasurer, we put in place tough ethics laws, and we stood up to Mike Madigan. When I'm Secretary of State, no more cozy relationships between lobbyists and politicians. We can stop this. Are you with me?
I thought we were getting ice cream.
that's a great commercial. I like it when that
Hey,
young
what's going
lady
on, guys?
says, hey, what about the ice cream? You know what I
I
mean?
want to ask the $1 million.
We got another commercial coming up that's talking about J.B. Pritzker's commercial. No, go up some, Brother Amari. Not there. Go up to the, right there. There you go.
Did you know Darren Bailey runs a school? And they use quite the curriculum, the same one that taught lessons like women in the workforce have been harmful to America. Evolution isn't real. Dinosaurs and humans were definitely on Earth at the same time. Gay people have no more claims to special rights than child molesters or rapists. The majority of slaveholders treated their slaves well. Class dismissed. Darren Bailey is too extreme for Illinois.
I want to read something to you. This is an article that got my attention. Governor J.B. Pritzker gives $1 million to Alexi Giannoulias' campaign after backing rival for Secretary of State. This was September 29th, 2022. Governor J.B. Pritzker has contributed $1 million to the campaign of Democratic Secretary of State candidate Alexi Giannoulias. He got a right to do whatever he want to do with his money. I ain't got no problem with that. Okay, I'm glad that he gave it to Alexi. Everybody's talking about Democrats got to come together. Okay, in order to win this campaign. Primary is over. I'm with that 100%. Second, to the campaign of Democratic Secretary of State candidate Alexi Giannoulias, even though Pritzker just 4 months ago backed Giannoulias' opponent in the primary. The contribution from Pritzker's campaign reported Thursday amid a flurry of roughly $10 million in contributions from the billionaire governor in recent days to Democratic candidates and organizations throughout Illinois. He's the leader of the party or of the ticket. And he's supposed to look out for the ticket all the way down. Hooray, hooray to the governor. Marks the first time Pritzker has contributed to any campaign run by Giannoulias, the former state treasurer who ran unsuccessfully for the United States Senate in 2010. Pritzker on Thursday also deposited another $20 million into his own campaign fund, adding to the $125 million he previously contributed from his vast personal fortune to his re-election efforts. The governor's comes with early voting getting underway in some parts of the state, and as the Republican candidates relentlessly hammered their Democratic rivals on crime and an overhaul of the state's criminal justice system. So the Republican Party wants to get rid of criminal justice reform. Okay? We can't allow that. Okay? Includes ending cash bail on January the 1st. Pritzker, who in June contributed $55,000 to Chicago City Clerk Anna Valencia's campaign for the party's Secretary of State nomination, always said he was, that's what JB said, he always said he would support the Democratic nominee even if it wasn't Valencia. Spokeswoman Natalie Edelstein said, Janulius handily defeated Valencia in the January 28th primary. I was very instrumental in him winning the campaign. No question about it, hands down. You can say he might have won that without me, but the fact of the matter is he did not win it without me. And in the general election, he'll be going against this Republican guy, Dan Brady. The governor does not take the threat of Republican extremism lightly, and he shouldn't. And I don't. That's why I voted early October 7th for J.B. Pritzker, for Alexis Janulius, for the straight Democratic ticket, inclusive of the retention of the judges, who will fight for our share. The governor does not take the threat of Republican extremism lightly and is committed to supporting candidates who will fight for our shared democratic values at every level of government, Edelstein said in a statement. Along with Pritzker's $1 million, the Janulius campaign on Thursday reported $769,000 in additional contributions from labor unions, auto dealers, other supporters. That's on top of more than the $1.3 million in large dollar contributions that the campaign had previously reported since July the 1st. Janulius spent more than $5.2 million in the first half of the year to win the primary and came into the general election campaign with more than $773,000 cash on hand in his campaign fund, state campaign finance records show. We appreciate having the broad-based support of Democrats across the state, from the governor at the top of the ticket on down to the legislative county offices. Campaign manager Hannah Jubai or Jubei or whatever it is. But the thing that Herb and JB trying to do to me makes it where the campaign we have going against unethical Anna, it brings to one's mind that Alexis Janulius and this campaign has an unethical Hannah dilemma. But I'm sure we're going to work that out, because business is business, ethically speaking. Okay? Now, the reason I'm reading all that, because it's very important that people know what I do and why I do it, as opposed to saying what I should have done and what I should do. One of the things that's important, I want to read this to you because it's all out through social media. I filed my suit on the 13th, 6 days after I voted for him on October 7th. Alexis Janulius standing right there with me in the Thompson Center when we had this big rally about going to vote early. My lawyer sent a courtesy notice to Alexis Janulius' lawyer of my intention to file the suit that included a copy of the complaint. Let me read this to you. October 7th, at 2:11 p.m., my attorney emailed a letter to Illinois Secretary of State candidate Alexis Janulius' attorney, a courtesy notice of my intention, inclusive of a copy of the $20,000 breach of contract / quantum merit complaint against him and unethical Hannah. Mr. Dorff, hope I pronounced his name correctly, as a courtesy to you and your client, attached is a copy of the complaint Mr. Bradley has directed me to file on his behalf. In regards to your letter of 9/16/22, I strongly believe that your argument that the parties had no contract because neither of the drafts were signed or accepted is frivolous. Clearly, the parties entered into a contract and engaged in a course of action consistent with the terms set forth in the amended agreement. I instructed my attorney, this me, I instructed my attorney to send that email after I was informed by Governor J.B. Pritzker. Well, after I was informed that Governor J.B. Pritzker, whom I also support, gave $1 million donation on or about September 23rd, 2022. On October 7th, the first day of early voting in Cook County, especially Chicago, I voted for the re-election of Governor J.B. Pritzker, the election of Alexis Giannoulias for Illinois Secretary of State, a straight Democratic ticket, and the retention of the judges. On October 13th, at 10:18 a.m., the complaint was filed. Case number 2022-112-0361. System generated hearing date December 2nd, 2022, and courtroom 1102, Circuit Court of Cook County, District 1, at 50 West Washington Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60602, before the Honorable Judge James T. Derrico, Jr. at 9:30 a.m. And I want to say to God be the glory to make it right. Because I take seriously what I do for my clients and candidates who I feel is ethical enough for me to put my name onto them to convince voters to vote to elect them, to the point of putting my everything in to that end that they get elected. For 4 months, when I didn't get, the deal was I went to them with a first contract for $5,000 a month for 3 months. And if they were to win, I wanted it to go on to November at $5,000 a month. When it came time for me to make things happen come April, after I had presented that contract to him, his campaign manager, with Alexis' foreknowledge, because you don't do nothing without him knowing it. Don't believe that. Come to me and say, Gator, we can't do the they always scream they broke. We can't do the 15, we can do the 10. Can you change the contract? I said, sure. But at the signing of this contract, I want $4,000 for the retainer, $3,000 in May, $3,000 in June. And if we win on the 28th, not if he win, because I'm on the team, if we win, then I'm expecting it to go from July to November at $5,000 a month. I signed the contract. She gave me the retainer because the contract said at the signing of the contract, I'm to receive the retaining check. With the deal going all the way like it's supposed to go. She did that, the first check, the second check, the third check. And all of a sudden, they're not returning no calls. They're not returning no texts. She's not returning no emails. So I see her last day and I brought it to his attention when I didn't receive the money in July. And he said, okay, Gator, we trying to make sure this guy that want to be Jesse White, trying to say he's Jesse White, is off the ballot and all that. Well, I understand that. Cool. I ain't had no hiccups with you. I believe in you. My son know you. Y'all went to school together. He co-signed it for me to even be with you. And me and you talking, we meet everywhere across the country. Across the county for sure. Across the city for sure. I see you when I then received the check in August. 510,000. And I see you in September. And then you came with what you thought was the flim flam. I don't know what you thought, but that ain't working. All the while, in the name of unity, I was screaming unity before anybody was screaming unity. The governor didn't have to give you $1 million. Okay? The other people that was against you didn't have to donate money to your campaign. They did for the sake of unity. But if I'm part of the team, shouldn't I get paid for what I've done? But we let a court decide that. Or me and you will come to terms to make things right. But the one thing that gets me, I spoke to everybody within the Cook County Democratic Party. They know you and try to tell them to pull your coat. Get right. Get up with me. Everybody know it. You know it. So on that note, I want to tell everybody else, regardless of what me and him going through, I'm a God-fearing man. I know it's going to be right. You, voters, don't let what me and him going through get you discombobulated. Stay true, stay blue, vote straight Democratic ticket. My family members, my friends, and my fans, go vote early. Vote for the re-election of Governor J.B. Pritzker. Vote for Alexi Giannoulias to be the Secretary of State. Vote a straight Democratic ticket. And if you're in the 1st Congressional District, vote for Jonathan Jackson to be the congressman. If you're in the 2nd Congressional District, vote for Robin Kelly. And if you're in the 7th Congressional District, vote for Danny Davis. And with that, I want to say vote straight Democrat. Don't choke, don't vote. Stay blue. To God be the glory. That's my story.